Welcome to the 18th episode of ML Backstage. My name is Mars Luna.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're introducing this podcast straight from the sixth dimension. This is a music commentary podcast hosted by just Joshua Luna today.
What a shock. Wow.
I know. Wowzers, Ethan. He never told me about this.
I assume he's going to be talking about this Hawaii trip. I had no clue this was happening today.
I guess we'll find out today, Ethan. Earthlings, grab your popcorn and let's get started. Back to planet Earth we go!
What's going on, everybody? This is Joshua Luna here, and I want to welcome you all to the 18th episode of ML Backstage. Full disclosure, I'm currently in Hawaii right now. I'm here for a month, dealing with some family things and some personal things. And the original plans for this episode was for me to meet up with the guys and do one live and share the same energy in the same space and in the same place. But life transitions and scheduling difficulties come with the territory of being an adult. So that was not going to work, but I'm happy to be here with you guys. And life in Hawaii has been very fun at times, but for the most part, it's been filled with absolute complete chaos. And a lot's been going on this month, and this month's been really crazy. And as you can see, I got a new haircut. I actually had the haircut a couple weeks ago. I had a really high bald fade, and my hair is actually growing really, really fast. And I had my high school reunion, which I will get to in a little bit. I'm currently doing some caretaking for my grandpa who got out of the hospital a couple weeks ago. He had some internal bleeding and heart failure type stuff, but he's doing better now. But I'm just here to kind of supervise him for a little bit and, did some fun Mars Luna stuff with Holo over the last couple days, which I'll get into in a little bit. And yeah, just a lot to kind of process and a lot to kind of dig into and to really marinate and process through. I do want to start off with this high school reunion because this was something that I was excited about for months, and Holo and Nalu were excited about it for months too. And Kainala was not able to make it to the reunion, but I was able to FaceTime him and see a couple of faces that were looking forward to seeing him, stuff like that. And it was really cool to kind of see familiar faces and putting names together with those faces and just trying to remember some of those people again. And it's cool to see everybody doing well, you know what I mean? And it's cool to see everybody and just kind of catch up a little bit. But as Holo and I were talking about on the way home from the reunion, the one phrase that comes to mind is the more things change, the more they stay the same, like in my song Circles. And that's kind of something that's been marinating throughout the course of the last couple weeks, just kind of processing through the reunion. And going into this reunion, I kind of knew that this was going to be like a sense of closure or like a culmination of my high school experience, because high school will always be a special place for me because I met my best friends there. I met Holo, Nalu, and Scott there, and we're the bonds are even tighter now than they were back in high school. And I guess, you know, there was a foolish part of me that thought, because we were, you know, doing this reunion, that there wasn't really going to be any kind of social hierarchy or like or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like how it is in high school. But, you know, the social hierarchy was there. And everybody was kind of sticking to what they were familiar with for the most part. And I'm not blaming anybody, like that's human instinct, right? And it was just really interesting to kind of observe and to kind of interact with people that you knew in a prior lifetime, and to see how much growth has taken place since high school. um it's really mind-blowing to kind of see like how people grow, and how how people some people stayed exactly the same, you know what I mean? And just going through the ebbs and flows of life, and how it's affected certain people, and how it's affected certain relationships, and stuff like that, and the types of conversations that we are able to have now as full-fledged adults. It was very, very interesting to kind of um very interesting to witness and to see. um and being at the reunion, and being uh just kind of seeing like who's really changed, and who's really um who stayed the same, was kind of you know it adult being an adult does different things to different people. So it's just kind of like the nostalgic aspect of it now for me is gone with high school. And I've mentioned it in the last episode as well, that the nostalgia is over because of the Serious EP. It was like a completion of a cycle, I guess I'll put it that way. And we had some fun moments at the reunion. you know I wasn't expecting to see certain people, and the people who I expected to see, um they were it's interesting to see how everybody's in different places and stuff like that. We did have some fun moments, like we played tug of war, and my feet were burning by the end of that. um but overall, I think the reunion served its purpose. The reunion was uh kind of a means to an end. And you know I'm not going to really reminisce about high school anymore. I'll just be grateful for the times that we had, and now it's just time to move forward. And I'm grateful that I had the chance to go to the reunion, and to see you know people you know telling me like I was some celebrity, or whatever. And it was interesting to see like how much, even from a Mars Luna standpoint, how much people actually follow and keep track of what I've been doing. And that part was really cool to me. And they even played acoustic sunrise, intergalactic summer at the reunion. So that was really cool. And you know this class was really special because there were there are three musicians who've gone out and toured and done great things with their music, and that's not even including myself. And we had a really special, really talented, really intelligent class. And even though it's time to move forward, that's something I'll always be grateful for. And you know all of this ties with Mars Luna. So I'm going to backtrack quite a bit here, because it just came to mind. So to anybody who's new here, uh, new to the ML Backstage podcast, the ML Backstage podcast is a podcast about um, the creative odyssey and the creative journey of my character Mars Luna, um, cosmic prince and space alien singer from the sixth dimension, and just kind of going going through an in-depth look at the discography that I've made for him, that I've made for Mars Luna, and just it's a something that's it's a platform that's used to help me understand, um, you know, the Odyssey, the Cosmic Chronicles, and the discography, and how, you know, what's the purpose of, what's the story behind this song, what's the story behind this project, and just, it was created from a place of, place of stress, but now it's just created for, a space of understanding and a space of like reflection and stuff like that. And I bring up the high school reunion because I was born and raised in Kalihi, and I moved to Mililani in 2008, and I graduated from Mililani High School in 2011. So this was our, 11-year reunion technically. If I didn't move from Kalihi to Mililani, I wouldn't be as invested in, my creativity and my music as I do now. I wouldn't I wouldn't have my best friends now, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be able to, explore, creating, DIY music videos of Holo Analu, and, just having the homies be a part of the journey, and just like, if I didn't move to Mililani, I wouldn't move to Vegas, and in 2014. And if I didn't move to Vegas in 2014, I wouldn't, there would be no Mars Luna. If I didn't go to school for graphic design or an audio engineering, like, I wouldn't take that step to doing music and on a serious level. You know what I mean? And all that started because I moved from Kalihi to Mililani. And in a roundabout way, Mililani did have a huge effect on Mars Luna's journey. And it's a whole butterfly effect thing that I'm really appreciative for. And, being in Hawaii for a couple weeks made me really think about the differences between Hawaii culture versus the mainland culture. So I've been in Vegas for about 8 years. It's actually 8 years this month. And, moving to the mainland was a gigantic culture shock for me. And it was a bigger culture shock than I initially imagined. And, in the United States, Americans talk about their rights. They talk about their freedoms. They talk about, what it means to have a good time, and, and talking about the freedoms to do whatever they want. And, all those things are cool. And all those things are things that I'm grateful for. You know what I'm saying? But growing up in Hawaii, and living in Vegas, especially, where everything is so fast paced and everything happens within the snap of a finger, and there's no room for sentimentality in that city. The Hawaiian culture, or the culture of Hawaii, is all about, respect, and it's all about responsibilities. It's about, the responsibility and respect for our families, our land, our ocean, all the living things, and the Hawaiian culture, and the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? And just about, like, there's an aspect of, everything in Hawaii was meant to be sacred, and there's meant to be a sense of like respect and reverence You know what I'm saying? For the land that we occupy. And you know, living in Hawaii will humble you if you allow it to. You know what I mean? And I feel the effects of Hawaiian culture away from home. You know what I'm saying? More so than being here and taking it for granted. Um, and is this is not to say that um, the the Western, you know, Western culture in the continental United States is bad and wrong, because it's not. It's not wrong at all. I'm grateful for the freedom that I have here. I'm grateful for, you know, the freedom of speech, and I'm grateful for all those things. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's just more so a culture that I still haven't been able to completely adjust to it in the mainland. Uh, One of the things I am grateful for in the mainland is, you know, there's more there's more ambition and there's more possibilities for me there. So that's something I'm appreciative of, per se. But both um, Hawaii Hawaii culture and American culture are two completely different cultures, and you know, the culture shock is very real. Um, and it's just That's just something I was thinking about, uh, just coming back home and just kind of slowing down and seeing for what for what it is, you know. Uh, so what's next for Mars Luna? You know, it's a good question. Ain't nobody even asked, but the next thing for Mars Luna is episode 3 of the Cosmic Chronicles new album. Uh, Morgan and I started working on the new Mars Luna album in July, and this was something I never thought we would get to, because after Dark Matter happened, Morgan and I were just drained and exhausted, and we didn't know whether we were going to continue with music or not. And Morgan hit me up out of the blue saying like, "Yo, I'm excited for the new project. You know, like I heard some of the I made demos for this project, and I sent it to Morgan back in April, and just, you know, just to see if he was interested in, you know, helping me with it again, and helping me with, you know, making another record again." And and basically 3 months later, in July, Morgan said, yo, I'm excited for this. Like, you know, the songs are fire, you know what I mean? And you know, we were excited to kind of get the ball rolling, because I was in that space too, where I was ready to work on music again as well. And I felt rejuvenated, and I felt renewed sense of purpose. So, you know, Morgan and I went to the studio in July for a couple weeks, and we're progressing through this album at a blistering pace right now. And I couldn't be more thrilled with the things we've made so far, and I can't wait to show y'all the album and the singles when it's time. And Holo and I just actually uh, took pictures for the single covers uh, the last couple days. So I can't wait to see those photos. And Holo's taken on like a more creative director role with this project. So I'm excited to have him on board as well. Um, and I'm also excited for this record because I have more of an executive producer role on this record. And you know, I'm bringing back some old songs that we've made in high school, um, and post high school, that I wrote with Kainalu and that I wrote with Scott as well. And you know, pretty much just keeping it within the family for this project. Uh, and I can't wait. I can't wait till it's time. And Out of Character, it's some of the happiest body of work that I've worked on so far. And you know, I couldn't be more thrilled with how it's going so far. And you know, I'm having fun with music again because of this. So uh, it's always encouraging to kind of have that feeling. Um, and the first half of the year, I'm gonna go back a little bit for a couple months because I'm talking about how rejuvenated I was with, making music again in July. Because July was basically a good 160-degree turnaround from how the rest of the first half of the year was for me, because the vibes were awful during the first half of the year. I was grieving a lot, um, and going through a lot of transitions, um, with with life and stuff like that, and just being unsatisfied with where the trajectory of my life was going. And I knew I needed to figure some stuff out fast. And I thought I had some decisions, set in stone, but God had other plans. Um, and also, I've also dealt with, grieving the, what I'm saying, like grieving the loss of my dad. And from, I would say, from the day before Mother's Day to Father's Day was some of the worst days that I've experienced mentally, emotionally. And I was just in a really bad place. I was kind of lamenting, the fact that there was no sense of reconciliation left with my dad, because he kind of chose a bad and dark path over the past 10, 15 years. And it's, I mean, it's tough because I'm at peace with knowing that, you know uh knowing what my relationship is with my dad now, but I'm also not at peace with the person that he's become, over the last, I don't know, 15 years or so. And it all came to a head, um the day before Mother's Day, when he he reached out to me out of the blue. And just knowing that he was in a dark place and that he basically needed a favor from me, um that, that was brutal, and that was devastating to me. And now I'm assuming now um he is dealing with the consequences of his actions, you know um and but it life can be cruel sometimes. And that was a cruel hand that I was dealt with earlier this year. And just dealing with, you know the finality of that relationship, that was tough. And also, with my grandpa being in the hospital, for heart failure and internal bleeding back in August. And dealing with, you know uh the repercussions of that. And thank God he's doing better, right? And I'm watching him, and helping take care of him and stuff. um and he's in good spirits, and I'm grateful for that. um but it was a reminder of my mortality and my grandpa's mortality. It just, it's always a reminder that, like, your loved ones and you are getting older every day. And you just never know when your last day is going to be, you know what I'm saying? And that was kind of a thought process that was marinating in my mind throughout the time that my grandpa was in the hospital. And those are some sobering realities to kind of consider as you get older, and as you know as your loved ones go through certain things. And um, things that come with getting old, and things that involving like health and stuff like that. You just never know. And it's always a reminder to kind of you know embrace all the good days while you have them, because life can switch up on you at any moment. and yeah, like that. It's a 2002 was crazy. It was a lot to kind of process through, but I'm hopeful that the next couple months are going to be even better, and that it's going to be a springboard to a great 2023. So I want to close out this episode uh, by asking you guys, what do you want to accomplish uh, for the remainder of 2022? I guess for me, like the things that I want to accomplish, the main thing is to try to finish the album this year. Morgan and I are going through it really, really fast, and yeah, like and just have fun with music again, uh, which I am doing now, um, but on a more personal and internal level. The thing that I want to accomplish this year, well, I don't want to accomplish is the right word, but I want to be able to experience the everlasting joy that I find in Jesus, and experiencing that on a more tangible level, and the peace that I find in Jesus on um, every level. And because Jesus is enough for me, and there is an inherent desire, for me to understand everything. There's an inherent desire to kind of question things when they don't make sense. I need things to make sense for me. And I guess one of the things that I want to accomplish in order to find that joy, everlasting joy, and that uh, never-ending peace that I find in Jesus, um, is to live a life of surrender, and surrendering everything to God, because my emotions are futile, my feelings uh, are on shaky ground. They always change, and God is the only one who's in control, and God is the only one who, He's the one who's sovereign, right? So those are for those who profess and believe in Jesus Christ as their Savior, and you know, I guess like living a life that's in complete surrender to God is the one thing I'm living for, or trying to accomplish the remainder of the year. And let me know in the comments section on YouTube, what do you want to accomplish this year, the remainder of the year, or like in the show notes on Spotify and Anchor. Let me know on those platforms what you want to accomplish the remainder of the year. And yeah, once again, thank you so much to everyone who's been tuning in to the ML Backstage podcast. I enjoy doing these every month, and I could probably say the same for the boys too. We appreciate every listen, every subscriber. It's the goal is to kind of grow this podcast, and there's going to be some different things for the next couple months that I got planned, because the boys are going through some life transitions right now, and some other stuff. You'll see more solo episodes from me, but the boys will, they'll come on whenever they can, and what I'm saying. And yeah, like I have a blast doing this for you guys, and I'm also having a blast doing this for me too. So yeah, you can follow me on not Spotify. You can follow me on Instagram at Luna B Joshua. You can follow the music page on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Mars Luna. You can follow the website at itsmarsluna.com. You can follow Mars Luna on Spotify and Apple Music. And you can follow and subscribe to the ML Backstage podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Hope you all have a good remainder of September, and stay tuned for the next episode because we got a special guest coming, and hopefully I can bring the boys back on for that. So as Mars Luna always says, always embrace your odyssey and embrace the strange. Bye, guys.
Wow, what a Debbie Downer episode, Ethan. Goodness gracious.
See, I'm not the only Debbie Downer in this podcast.
Dang, I wasn't surprised Joshua leaked my next project because that's what he does. But sheesh, that was a lot to process. Hopefully the boys will be back in the next one. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the ML Backstage podcast. If you liked what you heard, follow us on Spotify and Anchor, and subscribe to us on Apple and YouTube at ML Backstage. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Mars Luna. You can find all my music on Spotify and Apple Music, and on my website at itsmarsluna.com. Thank you all for listening and hanging out with us and Joshua. Hope you're all enjoying this episode. Stay tuned for next month's episode because we got another special guest coming on. Bye!